So, do you like automobiles? Because I like automobiles, you know. You can travel around with them. They can transport stuff. And it's pretty good all around, you know, transportation. But you know what sounds similar to automobiles? You know, it kind of sounds like auto, and it's a different word. That's right. An Aston Martin. Oh, and also Autobot. I don't know if you caught that one too. Autobot. Autobot. Automobile, you know. Hello everyone. So, welcome back to the video. Today, as you can see by the thumbnail and also probably by the title of the video, we're going to be looking at the Lego Optimus Prime. I love Lego and I love Transformers. So this was pretty much a crossover made from the gods, carried down just for me. Of course. No one else, just for me. That's all. Just me. But along with the Lego Optimus Prime, it came with some other stuff, so I guess I'll show that off too. First off, it came with a gift with purchase. The Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR Pro. It's a poly bag of a car. It's pretty cool. I like cars. But we're not here to look at that today, okay? We're here to look at the other gift with purchase. This thing. This thing was super exciting to me. Because as you can tell, it has like the old Lego box style. And it's actually a remake of an older Lego set. I think it was the Forest Men hideout. This one is just the Forest hideout. And it's an updated version of that. And this just looks super cool. It was for the 90th anniversary of Lego. So obviously, this was very hype. And that's why I hold it off on buying the Lego Optimus Prime until I could get this with it. Because it's a very expensive gift with purchase. If I remember correctly, it was like you have to get at least $150 to be able to get this along with it. So Optimus Prime, as you can tell, was quite expensive, but it was well worth it because I got the Aston Martin and I got this super cool Lego set. But we're also not going to take a look at this as well. I'm not going to throw this one's precious. We're here to take a look at this big boy. It is so big, I have to like move it. Look at this. Look at this behemoth. It's massive. It's bigger than my face. Of course, one of my favorite characters of all time, just in all of fiction, is Optimus Prime. I love him. He's just super cool, and I guess I'll show you the box. I mean, look at how nice and fancy this. The lights kind of. There you go. Look at how nice this box looks. It's one of those like 18+ sets. I think Lego calls it icons now, but I mean, it also transforms. And that was the really cool part because Hasbro made a line of building block transformers like Lego called Creo. The problem was they didn't actually transform. You had to take it apart and rebuild it, which in my opinion is stupid because it's a transformer, not a deconstruct and construct robot, you know? So this was super awesome. And of course, it's from Lego. You didn't even just see the Lego and Hasbro. Who would have thought? No one would have thought this. No one. But you might be thinking, what does this have to do with anime? Well, did you know that Optimus Prime actually originated from Japan? As you can see, the toys from the 1980s, fans call it Transformers G1, actually came from different toy lines in Japan. Optimus Prime specifically came from the Diaclone line. And so, there you go. The Japanese toy line, you know, mecha, anime, tomato, right? I mean, besides, Transformers had a couple of anime, so, yeah. This G1 Optimus Prime didn't, but, I mean, it's close enough. Of course, as with any unboxing, I have to unbox the actual toy. Unfortunately, for me, this massive box has these. These, if you couldn't tell, are little thumb. I forgot what they're called, but they basically, once you do this, you can open the box. Normally, when big Lego sets come in, you get just a couple of tapes, and you can just cut the tape off and open up a flap. With this, you actually have to cut the box, but you know what? I don't really care that much. So there we go. The box is cool and all, but like I'm not buying this for the box. Okay, we got a bag. Another bag. More bags. A bag. Oh, guys, it's a new one. Another bag. Oh, this time it's a bag of tires. Bag. Bag. It's a bag. It's a lot of bags I'm starting to notice here. And this is new for me. It's I think they put the instructions inside of like this super fancy envelope. So you know what that means. Look at this. Premium. It has the Autobot symbol on it. Now, luckily for me, I was actually born with the natural gifted talent of building Lego sets faster than the human eye can actually see. So, okay. And as you can see, here he is, Lego Optimus Prime. Now, first off, I just want to go through the accessories. He comes with a stand, which looks quite nice. To be totally honest with you, I do like it. It looks cool. The next accessory is an Energon Cube, which is probably, in my opinion, the least exciting thing about this set. I mean, yeah, it's cool that it exists, but I definitely could have gone without it. And if it was going to be included, I wish they could have made the entire thing translucent instead of have it translucent sandwiched between two solid colors. But for the most part, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. Just not for me. You also get an optional truck piece that you can swap out during transformation when you turn into a truck. You get the Energon axe as well, which in my opinion is it's not the greatest. It's also not that accurate. But fortunately, after looking at some reviews on YouTube, you can actually flip it to make it much more accurate. However, the backside still looks well, not the best. And you can attach the axe onto the hand by removing the hand, moving down the peg, and then plugging it in. Another accessory you get is the Matrix of Leadership. And to be totally honest with you, it doesn't look the greatest. I do understand what they're going with because this is supposed to be the orange outer casing on the Matrix, but without the blue in the middle, it just doesn't look complete. You also get Sideswipe's jetpack, which is a cool accessory, and it definitely makes Optimus Prime's back look more complete because it does look quite a bit ugly without it. And the last and my absolute favorite accessory out of the whole entire set is his Ion Blaster, which looks fantastic in Lego, and it also has a really neat way of actually attaching to his hand. It uses two studs instead of actually being connected directly to his hand, which is a cool idea, and it looks great too. Let's talk about some of the flaws I've noticed with this figure. The first one I want to mention is that he has some pieces that are not really sturdy on here. And what I mean by that is at his feet, he has these pieces here that basically act as stoppers to keep him from leaning too far forward. The problem is it gets basically all of the pressure of the figure onto these pieces. And what ends up happening is the ankle joint is constantly pushing against this small piece, and eventually it sometimes just comes off, and it does get quite annoying sometimes. There are also some other parts on him that are fragile and kind of come off, but fortunately because it's Lego, you can just put it back. But it does make it clear that this figure is not really meant for play, it's meant just to be displayed. Another problem I've also noticed is his proportions are just slightly off. And what I mean by that is if you look down at his hip is the same width as his chest. Even though bringing in the masterpiece Optimus Prime, you can see that his hip is actually a bit thinner than his chest. But because this is the same exact size, it does make the proportions slightly off. But for the most part, it's not too terrible. The head as well. The head looks pretty decent. There's just something off with it, but for the most part, it's very clearly Optimus Prime. So, not too bad there. The last flaw I've noticed with this figure is his articulation. He doesn't have any knee joints, which probably everyone has already known by now. And his range of motion on his shoulders aren't that great. He can't really do the T-pose, which is honestly very disappointing. But now with all the negatives out of the way, let's talk about the positives, because he has quite a few as well. First off, he looks great. Yeah, there are some problems, but for the most part, it's clearly Optimus Prime, and boy, does he look good. Even with the lack of articulation, you can still get him in some pretty decent poses, just standing there, menacingly and heroically. He also is, if you haven't noticed, massive. Like, he's tall. He towers over LEGO minifigures and many Transformers. Even MP10 cannot stand next to this massive LEGO set. He's imposing and he's awesome. Now, with all of that, I do want to say though, that the coolest feature of this entire LEGO set is that he can transform. Between the two modes, I do think that the truck mode looks better because it just looks cleaner. There are a few gaps here and there which is noticeable, but it's not enough to ruin the whole facade that this is actually a truck. Plus, you also have storage space on the truck for his ion blaster, with the added bonus of kind of having storage for a LEGO minifigure. Kind of. You can make it work. You can make it work. The transformation itself is quite simple and not that hard to do at all. It's very similar to the G1 Optimus Prime toy and cartoon. Now, my overall thoughts on this figure is that he's awesome. I do really like him, and he's great as a display piece. There are some flaws, but due to his size and just how much he looks like Optimus Prime, he does look great. As trying to play with him, not so much. His range of articulation isn't that fantastic, and there are some parts that do fall off quite a bit, but I gotta say, he's pretty awesome. Now, another thing to take into consideration is he is expensive. He is quite pricey, so that's kind of a con. But if you like Optimus Prime or Transformers and Legos, I would say you should get this set. Now, of course, if you're not into those things, you can just save your money and get something else. If you want a more accurate Optimus Prime, this is definitely not the figure to get. There are much more accurate Optimus Primes out there, like the MP10 or any of the other masterpieces, or even the Earthrise, I would say, looks more accurate. But if you want a neat LEGO Optimus Prime, or you just want a big Optimus Prime that looks really awesome, I would say go pick him up. And so with that, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I don't know when I'll upload next. Probably whenever my next figure review is. But I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!